What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back with another video, and today we have the Hot Toys Iron Man MK6 2.0 from the Avengers. This is a piece I'm really excited to get, and as you can see, this is in fact the regular release. I did not opt in for the gantry. I just don't have the space for that in my collection, despite it looking absolutely incredible. But guys, without further ado, let's get stuck into this unboxing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this figure brings. Alright, so first things first, we're going to take a look at this box, and I always love how Hot Toys do an Iron Man box. It always looks absolutely fantastic, always has that metallic sheen to the Iron Man himself, and I really like how they get this and make it look like the arc reactor is glowing inside. It looks fantastic. See this nice big band at the bottom, it says die cast, which I'm really excited about. I do love a die cast Iron Man. Then it says Marvel Studios The Avengers up on top, Iron Man MK6 2.0, and this is nicely raised off where it says MMS 5687 and all that rest of the stuff I'm not going to read out. It is risen up from the box, in fact the MK6 is as well, so that's nice to see. On the back you do have some more of the same, the Avengers logo, that same raised up work there. All of the information on the back, including warnings and the Hot Toys logo and that nice Disney shiny sticker there of authenticity. And then we've got the styrofoam packaging as well, which I wish Hot Toys did with all of their figures, because it's a nicer unboxing experience, as we're about to find out. Let's slide that out. We can see our styrofoam. I'm going to do it this way around because I am weird that way. But this is essentially our base. He does come with a basic base. Now I know the original had a cooler base than this, and I'm sad that this is a standard base. Let's just have a look at it real quick, and we can get this part of the unboxing done, and then we can take a look at the meat and veg in the other compartment. This is, yeah, there we go. Struggled a little bit there. All right, yeah, so you get your basic hexagonal base here, although it is nicely done with the Avengers logo embossed here. The Stark Tower in the background has a nice shine to it, and I suppose it will fit in with your other Avengers pieces as well that have the similar bases. So there is that. He comes with the eye tool, screwdriver for the batteries, which are going to be a pain, and this tool as well, which helps you remove the paneling on the figure and also put the batteries in as well, because they are tiny. Over here you get a crotch grabber, which is an interesting choice because Iron Man flies, so I don't know why they've just put in a crotch grabber, but there is that. You have these swap out pieces, which is nice, which we'll have a look at a little bit more when we display it, but you can see the missiles here and these other bits throughout, which look really cool, and then these lasers that you can attach into the wrists, which I'm looking forward to playing around with. They look a bit like lightsaber blades almost. Interesting to see if they'd fit into a lightsaber, but then they'd be too thin along. But there we go, so that is the back, and then of course you have your batteries in this new style packaging here. They used to come in like a hard clamshell little box inside the main bit, but they've opted out for a different type now. And then the instruction manual inside, which I will neglect to read unless I absolutely have to. All right, there we go. Let's flip that styrofoam packaging off. And there is the MK6 in all of his glory with so much plastic. My lord, that is a lot more plastic than I remember on an Iron Man figure. Let's have a quick look at this boy. As always, he is a hefty figure. Like, you can feel the weight. It's definitely bottom heavy, which is good because he won't fall over as easy, but most of the die cast is located in his legs, especially the thighs and knees. This is all metal here. It's just like cold to the touch, feels so good. And then you do have the head plate up here, which is plastic, just FYI. Light up system there, and an also removable faceplate. Now I like that it's all magnets as well. I don't think they had that on the last ones, but these come off so easily from the magnets, and it reduces the risk of damage. Speaking of which, you can see all the styrofoam stuff in between to protect him from damage while shipping. God, he looks good. Look at that paintwork. Absolutely outstanding. But let's move him out the way for a moment. And look at what else we get. So we do get the Tony Stark head sculpt, which I am honestly not sure if I like this or not. I can't tell. It looks like Tony Stark. The paint apps are really good. All the skin work looks really nice. So I can't complain. The wrinkles as well. It's a really nicely detailed like head sculpt, but there's something about it that just, maybe it's a facial expression. It's nice to have a bit of life, that it's not just a dead stare, but maybe I just don't love the smirk. I don't know. That might just be me though, guys. Do let me know down below if you like that head sculpt. And then of course it has a moving eye system, which is really nice. And I don't think we've seen that on a Tony Stark head sculpt before. But yep, there we go. That is the sculpt. We have not a whole bunch else. We have the battle damage chest plate, which is really nice. No detail there. But the detail work they have put on this looks fantastic. Look at that. Really nicely done. All the pitting from bullet and shrapnel marks here. It's got good dry brushing and paint work to it. It looks fantastic. Now I watched Collector Joey's video on this and I saw he had some issues with this glass on this bit. Luckily, I am safe for now. We'll check what it's like on the full figure, but unlucky Joey, it looks like I lucked out on this one. And of course we have the swap out face plates, and the battle damage continues here in all its glory, and look how nice that looks. Honestly, I don't know if I want to display him clean, because I love a clean Iron Man look, or with the battle damage, because the detail makes this stand out so nicely. Honestly, I think they've improved their battle damage since the Mark 85 battle damage. This looks really nice. But there we go. What else do we have? We also have an array of hands. So you have the posable hands with the individual knuckles, which I've always loved on Iron Man that they do that. And on some other figures as well. I know Thanos had that as well, which is nice to see. It's a good inclusion. So you get two of those, one for each side. We have static hands. These are the blaster hands, like that, for displaying action poses. And what are these? Are these just your... okay, so these are alternate... I can't get that one out. These are alternate hands. So if you look at this, you can see the this is for the lasers, sorry. So you would slot the laser in here, and it pops out. And this is just to differ from the figure. So you can see how he has that bit there. So to get the lasers, you would just swap out the hands, but it is the same fisted position. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take a deep dive into the figure itself. All right, and here is the figure itself, and it looks absolutely astounding. Now, first of all, the Iron Man, I want to say head sculpt, but it's just a helmet, is really well detailed. Now, earlier on I said, would I go battle damage or clean? Now this is clean, but you can see already that there is a nice weathering painted onto this clean one to show that this suit has already had some use. You can see it in the pitting here, in the silver bits of his biceps. You can see it throughout the face sculpt, and you can see it throughout the rest of it, especially on the golden bits. It really stands out nicely. The helmet is absolutely fantastic. The inclusion of the magnets on these faceplates make this really easy to swap out the different parts, and also to input the batteries, which is an absolute godsend. Now, in terms of the rest of the suit, the detailing is incredible. Really like these gold embossed parts here as well on the suit. I don't think I ever noticed that before, but that really does stand out nicely, and the red and gold is fantastic. Previously, I didn't love that it had silver, but the more I look at this, the more I actually like the silver accents, because it gives more to appreciate on the figure, which is really nice to see. Now, most of the upper body is plastic. I believe these bits on the arms are metal, but I think all of this pretty much is just plastic, and most of the metal is on small accents. So these bits here, they are metal, I believe. I'm trying to feel the cold. All this bit here is metal as well, but this is plastic. The chest is obviously plastic, and most of this around here is plastic as well. All the legs, pretty much all down here, is die cast. So you get a lot of die cast on this figure, including this bit here. And just the just the craftsmanship on this is outstanding. Like, as you bend the knee, you get these different bits that stick out here. You can see the rivets throughout it as well. You've got good boot articulation again with rivets throughout, and these different bits as you move it, they move out. It's like a real working piece of armor, and that's why I really like these figures. The only other Iron Man I had before was the Mark 85, which is a beautiful piece, but because it's the nanotech, it loses some of the kind of, I'm going to say realism, but we know what I mean, but it loses some of the realism, and I like having an actual suit of actual armor, which is nice. Now in terms of posability, you have a lot. This bit I like that it moves out, so you see here, so it moves out quite nicely. You have a ball joint in the arm there, so you can pretty much swivel this all the way around if you want. It goes all the way out to the side as well. You do have a good double bend in that elbow, so there is a lot you can do. Double bend in the knee here, and again you do have toe articulation as well, which will really help with those different poses, and even a tiny, I'm not going to include that. I was going to say a tiny bit of ankle swivel, but there's barely anything there, so just bear that in mind in your poses. You do get a lot of movement throughout as well. Just be careful of these bits here. Whenever you're going to do a pose, make sure you move them up and out of the way first, just so you don't cause any damage, including these bits on the back. Do your pose that you want and then finish up, because you don't want to snap these off because they are plastic and they can be a bit scarily flimsy, which is one of the downsides. Now in terms of torso articulation, does he pop up? Some of these, yep, so he pops up like so. So just a bit of pressure and he'll pop up, and then you have a bit of torso articulation here as well. Not tons, but a good amount. I know on the Mark 85 there was bits up here that used to move out slightly, but you don't seem to have that in here. But punch into the details. If you look in the arm, look at all of that absolutely fabulous detail in the armpit here. Again, keeping that metallic, mechanical look throughout. Really nice. Like I said, it just looks like a working piece of armor, and I do love that. There's a lot of different switch out parts and lots of different bits you can open. I feel like I'm going to be discovering things on this for months, which just makes it so fun. I think the chest piece should just pop off. There we go. And even in that chest, look at that silver, black and gold. That looks really nice. Kind of makes me wish I got the black and gold Mark 7 now, but there we go. So that is fantastic. There are obviously battery compartments that we can do to put in there that will kind of make all this illuminate, which we will do in the posing section. Just going to pop this back on. Now this isn't magnets, just by the way, it has pegs, so just be careful with that. Make sure you line it up correctly and then you pop it back in. Now swapping out the head for the Tony Stark head is nice and easy, but there are two parts to it. You need to take off this bit, you then need to take off this bit in here, which isn't as easy to do, so I'm going to do that off camera quick. Alright, so I actually had to go get a pair of tweezers to take this off, so that wasn't easier said than done, like I said. I remember on the Mark 85 it wasn't that difficult, but there we go. So we got that neck piece off, along with the helmet is off, and then you will need this little bit right here. You just slot that on in, like so. That sits in there, and then you pop that head sculpt in, and there you have your Tony Stark head sculpt on the piece of armor, which I have to say, I'm liking this more and more, this head sculpt. On the armor it actually looks pretty good. The head sculpts always look slightly weird when they're not attached to a body, and then you get them on a body and they start to look nicer, I have to admit. So there we go, that's how you switch out the head sculpt. Not as easy as I first thought. So if you're struggling, have a pair of tweezers and just be careful. Alright guys, so that is everything for now. What we're going to do is we're going to whack this guy into some poses. And here we are with a basic museum pose, and this piece looks absolutely marvellous. As all die-cast Iron Men do, look at how the light just bounces off the different pieces of armour. The Tony Stark head sculpt is really growing on me the more I look at it. It's not a perfect likeness though, and the likeness kind of depends on kind of what angle you're looking at it from. Despite this, it looks amazing on the armour and is definitely one of the stronger RDJ head sculpts. And here we have him in what I'm going to call his fully decked out pose. You can see he's got all the extra accessories on his wrists and the flaps opened up on the back. The details on his figure are really astounding, especially in the diecast sections. You can see here on the legs, which is the bulk of the diecast, all the different rivets and stuff throughout look amazing. The battle damage pieces also really astound me, and they look really sharp and well designed throughout. I really like the extra pieces on the arms and the fact that they light up as well. That blue colour really looks appealing. You can also see it kind of in the midriff section here underneath the chest plate. And you can see how he lights up, kind of in a darker environment here as well. It's not the brightest lights, the batteries do die really quickly, so I would like to see some USB powered lights in the future. And now it's time to rate this figure. I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. It loses some points for still using batteries even though we have USB powered options, and also some of the smaller accessories in the flaps do feel like they'll break quite easily. Of course, the highlights are the incredible design and the posability of this figure, as well as the battle damage swap out pieces. Although it can be a bit of a pain to swap out all the different parts, they really do make this figure look absolutely impressive. So guys, that is it for our review. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, this is Jim Collector, and I'll see you again in a future video.